Hi, thanks for dropping in on TNT, brought to you by Beach House Thailand. You can read more about that clicking the link in the description. Now, today we're talking about what was going on the weekend, particularly on Sunday. The US President, Donald Trump, flew into Malaysia to sign what was described as a peace agreement. Now, I've sort of suggested all the way along that there is no peace agreement. There's been no parameters put down to change anything from what was really in the original ceasefire 3 months ago. So we'll have a talk about that, but the President did come in and provided a lot of gravitas, of course, to the signing of that document, and there was a meeting of people, and that can only lead to good. And let's hope it leads to some sort of ongoing peace, maintaining on that Thai-Cambodian border, and maybe a little bit of extra pressure. We'll just have to wait and see. I've said all along that the document that was signed on Sunday that was really just more of an MOU or an agreement to continue the good faith. It certainly wasn't a peace deal. I'm not the only one who feels that. Thai PBS World, who I should remind you is the English language outlet for the Thai government, asks the question, what should we call it? And they ask the question, peace deal or do as agreed or the ceasefire is off accord. What happened in Kuala Lumpur is four men thinking with varying degrees of egos, doubts, misinterpretation of situations and hidden agendas that they now have it under control. Well, the core issues that have been addressed under the original ceasefire are no more under control now than they were really 3 months ago. It says the term peace deal splashing across in the background of what seemed to be a historic photo should have been preceded with a bracket with the word fragile in it. Well, the writer of this editorial, Tulsatit Taptim, certainly not holding back. They go on, make no mistake, any reduction of tension, especially military tension, is good. But also make no mistake, it's not a peace deal in the utmost idealistic sense. A real peace deal should be unconditional, unambiguous, without any political agenda and have all egos put aside. Now, we need to be clear that going back to the ceasefire, which was an agreement between the then Thai Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Cambodia, and then, of course, the Malaysian Prime Minister representing the chair for ASEAN, signed this ceasefire. There were 4 principles agreed on, insisted on by Thailand and ostensibly agreed by Cambodia. Those 4 principles remain and nothing has changed in regards to those. That is the withdrawal of heavy weapons on both sides of the border, the removal of landmines in some of that disputed land, the closing down of scam centres in Cambodia. That's a central issue that really is at the core of all this. But very, very little has been done on that, or if anything has been done, it's been largely performative. And then, of course, there's the proper demarcation of the Thai-Cambodian border. That's been a centuries-long argument, and anything in the ceasefire or the peace agreement has done nothing to help resolve the where the dots actually go on the map. And that will continue to be a sticking point as we sort of stumble forward. And going on with the story, behind the agreement are internal politics influencing bilateral affairs, tariff-driven economic interests, and probably the increasingly desperate search for rare earths. More about that in a moment. Anything but the lives and well-being of real sufferers on both sides of the Thai-Cambodian border, which should have been the biggest motive. And in a bit of analysis, Phnom Penh's Hun Manet government may get stronger. He and his Thai counterpart Anutin Charnvirakul may be better off politically in the future if the border is tense. And then talking about analysis on another Thai publication, The Manager, a flood of international allegations concerning far-reaching scamming racketeers in Cambodia, as well as growing concerns that business and personal financial losses resulting from the border conflict might soon lead to an explosion of non-performing loans, possibly having a big impact. And that situation also has something to do with Thailand, as the more the bilateral conflict drags on glaringly, the more global attention on massive scamming that allegedly originated from inside Cambodia will increase. And there's a lot to be said for that opinion on the Cambodian side. The Prime Minister, officials in the Cambodian government, then the public service and their alleged connections to big business and the scam centres in Cambodia have a lot to lose. As we've passed on many times over the past year, an estimated 40 to 60% of Cambodia's GDP generated by scam centres and other connected businesses. And on the Thai side, well, it's always a convenient deflection for a government looking forward to an election sometime in the first or second quarter next year to have something to sort of point at and blame rather than some of the problems at home. Let's go to the practical side, and Bangkok Post reporting today that Thai-Cambodian border crossings at Sakao to remain shut. And the Thai Army's dismissed reports which claim that the border checkpoints at Sakao will reopen on November the 1st. And they've said online reports which claim the troops have been instructed to prepare for the reopening of the permanent border crossing were false, and said that all operations continue to comply with the government's current policy to keep the border closed. And meanwhile, the Burapha Task Force deployed heavy machinery to demolish several houses that were built by Cambodians, and following the demolition, explosive ordnance disposal units moved in to clear the area of remaining mines and unexploded ordnance. Oh, excuse me, I'm just going through the peace deal here, trying to find a bit about demolishing houses and clearing the area. Let's go to Al Jazeera and some of their coverage. What's in the Thai-Cambodia Peace Agreement and can it hold? And the highlight of talking about the American president's appearance was a peace declaration between Cambodia and Thailand that expanded on a ceasefire agreement reached in July, which brought deadly border clashes to a halt. And the article asks the question, so what's in the deal and can the ceasefire really hold? And at the core of the deal is a plan for military de-escalation under ASEAN members' supervision. Both sides agreed to remove heavy weapons from border areas and return them to regular bases with verification of a new ASEAN observer team. Well, that was covered under the original ceasefire. And this is certainly worthwhile putting into any agreement between the two countries. Beyond military measures, the agreement also addressed an information war, should be perhaps a misinformation war, that emerged in recent months and fueled tensions in both countries. Bangkok and Phnom Penh pledged to refrain from spreading false and inflammatory claims through official or unofficial channels. Problem is, you've got highly inflamed nationalist communities on both sides throwing these verbal barbs at each other, and there's also just all these employed trolls, particularly, I'm sad to say, from the Cambodian side. Both governments have committed to resume normal diplomatic engagement and coordinate local-level talks through established mechanisms like the GBC or the JBC. That was covered in the original ceasefire and has been going on. The two countries also pledged to coordinate and implement humanitarian demining in the border areas, one of the key triggers behind the recent round of fighting. Again, covered in the original peace agreement. But it says that upon fulfilment of those terms, Thailand has undertaken to release 18 Cambodian soldiers captured during the fighting 3 months ago. Well, same as after the ceasefire, really all this remains to be seen. Now, another document that was signed between the Thai Prime Minister and the US President at that particular meeting on the sidelines was a rare earths memorandum of understanding. Now, it's not a sort of a signed final deal or a document, but it is a consideration to continue talks between the two countries for Thailand to provide some rare earth minerals, we assume, to the United States. The problem is that that has never been discussed in the Cabinet, in the Parliament. I don't think the Prime Minister's really discussed it with anybody, certainly hasn't discussed it with his coalition partners, and anything signed would have to be ratified by the Thai Parliament at some stage. So, okay, good to see that the Thai Prime Minister's making discussions with the United States regarding some sort of deal, in response, of course, to the pressure put on Thailand by tariffs by the United States. So there's a long way to go in that particular deal. Does Thailand have the rare earth minerals to spare? And what is the deal? Well, nobody in Thailand knows at the moment, and certainly the Parliament would have to sit down and debate that before anything could be ratified. Anyway, very interested to hear about what you think. At the end of the day, all we want is some peace for the 300,000 or 400,000 people who have been moved out of their homes that lived happily before all this along the Thai-Cambodian border. Some 400,000 Cambodians have fled from Thailand back to Cambodia, and there was some 10 to 15,000 people crossing through those land borders every day, and that trade and that movement of people has stopped. So the lives of a lot of people living along the border and relying on the trade between the two countries, that is still under a huge question mark. And let's hope this performance over the last couple of days and the appearance of the American president may put a little bit of additional media exposure and pressure on the government to maybe move forward with those principles that were originally decided back during that ceasefire. Thank you for watching. Interested to hear what you have to say, and thanks for watching.